It appears that there is some positive news trickling out, some new information on Damar Hamlin this morning, and it is just breaking now. Coley Harvey works for ESPN, national NFL writer. He is outside the hospital as well, I believe, in Cincinnati. So thank you for making the time, Coley. What can you tell people about what's being reported now that I'm seeing quotes, remarkable progress, neurologically intact, lungs healing. What is the information coming out today that would make us hopeful?
Yeah, what you're just referring to is a statement that the Buffalo Bills just released within the last 20 minutes or so. And they say that per the physicians who are caring for Damar Hamlin right now, they're seeing those signs of remarkable, quote, remarkable improvement across the last 24 hours. I've been kind of running around the last 15 minutes or so trying to pin down exact context on what all of this means. That neurologically intact part of the statement that you just referred to, that's in reference to what the doctors have been able to do in terms of the testing with Damar Hamlin. I've been told that Hamlin has been gripping the hands of some of his family members. I'm not exactly sure which ones. I did ask if it was his mom and dad. I'm sure that they certainly were, but likely others as well who were in the room. I reached out to a cardiologist to get some context on what that means, neurologically intact. And he told me that to him, if he would only use that term to describe the progress someone has made if they're showing signs of moving their extremities with purpose or listening to and following basic commands and questions. So the fact that we know that Damar Hamlin was gripping the hands of his family members, that's a sign of moving those extremities with purpose. The neurologically intact portion is a very good sign, very good step in the right direction. But again, long way to go for this young man.
Forgive me here because I don't know, beyond obviously death, I don't know if there were greater fears than oxygen not getting to the brain for a great deal of time. And I would like more information, even though it's very early, on neurologically intact, what that would mean for his prospects, right? Because yes, of course, you want him to live. You also want him to be able to walk. You want him to be able to live a life with his brain intact. Because when you're saying neurologically intact, you can't make the jump to no brain damage there, can you?
You can't at this stage. My understanding of that, no. That neurological function that the cardiologist I was just referring to, what he was referencing is the motor function, what the nerves are at least able to do. So to your point, no, we can't definitively say that. And again, we're also not talking to the physicians who are actually treating Damar Hamlin right now. It may be some time before we're able to even get a little more clarity from those types of voices. But this all being said, it is a promising step. We haven't had any news like this on this front. We had heard that he was showing signs of improvement yesterday. They seemed very minor and moderate, and we were basically tempered from representatives of the family to not get people's hopes too high, because even their hopes were not too high. They were trying to make sure that they understood everything fully. But that all being said, he's taken some steps, and it's important to highlight that right now.
Coley, the other part of the statement was that his lungs continue to heal. What was the nature of the damage to the lungs, and what is the status? Continue to heal. What status are they at right now?
It's hard to say that definitively. I've heard from family members that was one of the primary concerns very early on. The fact that the statement says that his lungs are continuing to heal and that they are progressing, that's a positive, because there was damage. In fact, I've talked with his uncle, Dorian Glenn, a couple of nights ago, and he said that was the number one concern aside from the neurological issue for them. So if he can continue to progress in that way, we'll see. But again, we're still very, very early in a lot of this. The cardiologist who I spoke with, he said, hey, 72 hours, which is around the time we are right now, that's when you do want to start seeing some of these signs of progress. But at the same time, this all takes time. We're not going to all of a sudden wave a magic wand and and this human being is back to the normal person he was before.
Do we know if he's awake, how he's awake beyond, because I'd heard some people and some reports saying awake, beyond the squeezing of hands?
At this moment in time, I'm not comfortable saying one way or the other. I've heard conflicting things. I've also kind of been told that that's just something that I'm not able to answer at this moment. Hopefully, we'll have some clarity in the next couple of hours on whether that's a yes or a no. But I've also seen those reports as well. You're right.
And even though it is early, I believe that we can make the leap. Now, I don't want to be making too many speculatively here, though, that the Buffalo Bills aren't sending this out because there are demands for information. They are sending this out after not being hopeful, I'm assuming, understanding that there's a risk in creating hope here, that this must be really positive news for them to do what they've done here.
Absolutely. I think the Bills, to their credit, in terms of getting the information out, have handled this the right way. We haven't heard a whole lot from the hospital. In fact, we've heard nothing from the hospital. This is the closest that we've actually heard to anything with the statement saying per the physicians of. Beyond that, the Bills have been very patient with trying to make sure that they are getting out the exact terminology that does not give in too much false hope, but also does given the optimism that so many of us are hoping for right now in this case. So I don't think that they're sending it out just because people are clamoring for news and clamoring for information. They are sending it out because they feel this is a hopeful step. We can also report that Damar Hamlin's father spoke, as Adam Schefter from ESPN reported earlier today, spoke with the team yesterday, the entire Bills team over Zoom. And that's something that the fact that his father had the chance to take that time to do that, that also speaks to how the team is maybe beginning to feel a little bit better about his standing as we're beginning to move forward through this.
An obvious horror for the family. What can you tell us in talking to family members about how everyone is doing, with the understanding that this has got to be an obvious misery?
Yeah, there is certainly elation at this moment because this is a clear big step. But I will also say in a phone call that I just made to people who were inside the hospital, I could hear the emotion. I am also told that we are not going to be hearing anything formally from the family, at least not at the moment. And that's primarily because the family is still processing all of this. And when I mentioned emotion just now, I could detect, I could still detect some level of sadness. This is still a very tenuous situation for these people who are closest to Damar Hamlin. Although they are feeling this level of optimism, they're seeing this progress. They're still trying to be patient through all of this. And anyone who's ever gone through something like this with a family member knows how tenuous these moments can be right now.
What can you tell us about if any soothing can be found from the outpouring?
Oh, it's been found. Oh, for sure. The family has felt that support. It has felt that energy. It's felt that love. I've been told that of former Bengals players, current Bengals players, taking a time to come over these last few days. Bills players, of course, Stephon Diggs, the night of the injury, kind of having to force his way through. I was right there with him as he was trying to find his way into the emergency room, and I had to help him talk to a cop to get into the building. So they've seen that level of support. Here in Cincinnati, we're beginning to see a little tribute that was placed just outside the hospital. It's beginning to grow today. It was really modest the first couple of days, but it's really begun to grow today. I've heard stories about restaurant owners and regular people here in Cincinnati who've been offering meals. I just had people come by to drop us off various food because they say, hey, you guys have been out here. We can't accept it. So I contacted someone with the family. I said, look, you guys deserve this way more than anybody. So it's that kind of charity and generosity that's going on around this city and around this family. And they are certainly feeling it. They are so thankful for it. And they're just hoping that they're going to be able to walk out of here at some point in the future with some very good news.
A clip that went viral yesterday was a few people informing the public that Hamlin hasn't made a lot of money in his career. He's at the low end of the pay spectrum in that sport, and the health benefits aren't great for somebody with his status. Do we have any idea, Coley, like how the NFL and everyone is going to rally around this family to make sure that this family is taken care of?
It's a really good question, Dan. I'm not sure at the moment. I don't know if I've got a really good question or a good answer to that. I've been so focused on just getting out the news of what's going on with the family and what's going on with this these levels of progression. That being said, it does appear as if the NFL and the NFLPA are trying to make sure that they're taking care of their players, right? I had a chance to find out that NFLPA executive president Damar Smith was here early in this ordeal. I believe it was Tuesday. I'm starting to lose track of my days, but I believe it was Tuesday midday. He had a chance to come and talk to the family and didn't want any fanfare about it. He just wanted to make sure he was there to let them know they had that level of support. So I don't know what the machinations are behind the scenes, but at least forward facing, those entities are trying to take care of the family right now.
Coley, thank you for the time and the reporting. Know you're busy. Appreciate you taking a minute to be with us.
Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate having this opportunity.
Really appreciate it, Coley.
Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Sorry I couldn't fill in some of that there at the end.
No, I mean, you filled in more than most, so thank you.